Hey there, welcome to the table. We're going to get ready to continue this. I have some things that came with this game that I'm going to utilize, and I only have it done for 2 of the 4 characters. My challenge is the table space is just too much consumption. So you can see here, there's my Magicka character, here's my bow character, and if you want to see the difference, all the cards and skills are there, but if you go to the bow character, they're all gone. So what did I do? Well, what I did was, I'm using this. So here you can see my nice little wood elf with his skill highlighted on the book. And if I flip the book over, you can see that he's an archer and you have all of his skills. It's all really handy. And then I open it up and I get like a 6-ring binder. And there you can see he has a shadow skill, and there's his bow skill. And if I wanted to, I could even put his inventory items in here. I haven't done that yet. I'm not as big a fan of doing that just because those cards tend to come and go. And to be quite honest, although these look easier to put in than those, these are challenging to get in. It's a very tight fit, and it's like you have to slowly feed it in, and because you don't want to rip the plastic. But anyways, it's a really cool thing. I don't think these come with the base game. They have a hard, probably a hard cardboard framework with a faux leather. It feels like leather, but obviously it's not leather. The etching on here is pretty sweet. These little, brass looking things are also pretty sweet, and then the corners are very nicely done. These are not cheap. Whoever made these, they did an excellent job. They look and feel fantastic. And you can tell they spent a lot of time designing like the windows for the different skill cards and things of that nature. So what I do is I have green for the archer, and then I have red for my two-hander. So red is might, right? And then there's a blue one and a brown one that I haven't done yet. The blue will be Magicka, and the brown one will be the sword and shield. So I did 2 characters this way, and then I have 2 characters the old-fashioned way, just taking up table space. And why did I do that? Well, I want to try it out before I go through the trouble of converting the other 2 characters. It was a little bit of time getting these cards in. Not like a long amount of time, but it's greater than 0. Let's put it that way. And then what it does is it frees this up, which allows me to roll dice here, and it also allows me to put my camera there. So I'm very grateful for some of that. Anyways, let's get into it now. So we have this Dark Forces of Greed quest, and we are on day 4. So that means today is day 4. We're doing this battle. We have one more day 5 where we can dink around, probably go to town again, is what I'm guessing. And then day 6, we're going to go in and complete our first quest here. So this is an opportunity to get some experience points. I believe it's 2 experience points. Yep, right here. For the day reward phase, which is a decent amount. That means we should be able to at least get 1 more die for our guys. And let's jump in. So when you're looking at this, the first thing to understand is these numbers here are the order that the enemies come onto the board. So, and I forgot, we got 2 experience points already. So that means we're at 4 experience points instead of 2 for the party. Okay, so when we draw our first bad guy, it's going to go here. Then the second one there, and then the third one there. That's what those numbers mean. Then, of course, this is telling us, that's a legendary treasure, and these are 2 regular ones. And then the red here means that those are impassable terrain, like a cliff or a whatever. So what we got to do in that case, so you can see it's there's 2 black squares, and then there's 3 squares there that are impassable. And so what I think we should do in that situation, and I'm just reaching for my tiles. So what I did was I grabbed 2 of these 3 spots, and I'm going to flip them over and put them on upside down like that, to show that those are off limits. And then down here, we got the same situation. And so what that means is there's a bottleneck here, and we're not allowed, and the enemy is not allowed to shoot through or go onto these spaces. Okay? So that's what that means. And so, yeah, by flipping these upside down, I can mimic that. I think that was the intent of the game. I'm not sure. So, of course, we have our two-hander up front. And then we have our bow person. And then we have our sword and shield. I'll put the bow person back. Sword and shield up front. And then we have our mage in the back. Now, we don't have summons like we did before, so this is not as congested. I think in the past, I put the this guy was the cleric, and I put him in the back, and the bow was in front. One viewer took issue with the fact that I kept choosing turn order at the start of each round. I didn't take the time to go into the rulebook to see if they were correct. I just assumed that they were. So what they were saying is that once you choose turn order, that turn order is consistent every round. So you can't say, hey, the archer's going to go first on round 1, and then this guy's going to go first on round 2. Like, you can't do that. Once you pick who's going first, you stick to that turn order for the rest of the mission, if you will. Again, I don't have a problem with it. It just, I don't like those types of constrictions in games like this, but it is what it is. Okay, so then it says we need to travel to the landmark, add a level 10 Khajiit cultist to the EP, and deploy it first. And then if this encounter is successful, complete the quest during your next town encounter, giving each adventure an additional town action. And then you gain 2 experience points on that day's reward phase. So you're not going to get it now, but we'll get it when we go back to a town, which of course will be next turn. Then it says you may attempt to swindle the mage, and you can make a social check of number of players plus 3. If successful, one adventurer may search the item deck for a glyph of stamina and gain it. Okay. So what they're saying is we need to get this Khajiit person. That's a level 10. And that's the first one added to the mission. And of course, I don't know where this Khajiit person is, so give me a second as I try to find it. And I can have you look as well. So the level 10s are the purple sides. And there it is, Khajiit cultist, right there. So all these go back in the bag. Now, our baddies are, we have a 4-player party, and we have 4 experience points right now. So we started the game with 2 experience points, because that's how you get your 2 starting dice. That was your 2 experience points. So, so now we have 4 experience points. So 4 times 4 is 16, and this one is worth 10. So 10 of the 16 is already being taken up by this person. All right, now I'm grabbing my chips. So this person has 6 health, and the number 1 goes there. So that's the cultist, and that's the first one deployed. So we're at 10, and I said we got to go to 16, so that means I got to grab a level 5 and then a level 1. So I'm just going to grab 2 more chips, and then we're done. So here's the first one, and here's the second one. So the first one I got to flip over. It is a Breton Marauder, and the second one is a Mud Crab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for the Marauder, and 3 for the Crab. Okay, and then according to those same setup rules, 2 goes there and 3 goes there. So we got these 2 guys up front, this one in the back. And then I'm just going to set this off to the side. And then it shows that we have a legendary here, and then a regular there and there. Like so. And so our 3 or more players, our objective is to conquer, which means we got to eliminate everybody, not just the cultist. If it was 1 or 2 players, it's just eliminate the cultist. Okay, so real quick, Stalwart, we remember, this guy can only take 1 damage per turn. Dodge and Steal. I think Dodge is, if you roll a miss, it adds 1 to his armor. And then Steal, of course, means he's going to steal an item from you. And we learned through Board Game Geek that steal means destroy. So I don't like the word steal. It makes no sense. Intimidate and Ritual 1. I don't know what either of those are, so let's look those up. Ritual is at the end of the unit's turn, all allied units in sight heal for the number of damage, which is 1. So he's going to heal everybody 1, and then Intimidate. After this unit's engaged, apply a fear status die to the target. If the target already has a fear status die, remove it instead. Interesting. And so there we go. I do like the fact that we get to go first. Some games don't let us go first, and I'm never a fan of that. So with that said, what is the turn order we want to do? And the turn order, by the way, is going to be, we go clockwise, right? So it would be, if the archer is first, then this guy would be second, and that guy would be third, and that one would be last. So looking at the situation, the 2 up front are here, so I would make my 2-hander the guy who goes first. Just because he's up front and I need him to get out of the way. So I am already regretting that I don't have the guy that automatically picks locks. But with that said, okay, so our 2-hander is this guy right here with the fluorescent green. He has 3 stamina. He can move 3 spaces as a result. So what I'm going to have him do, so like the crab looks like the easiest to kill, but the steel guy is the problem. I don't want him stealing our items. They both have 1 shield, so we're going to have to overcome that. This guy will target 2 people, right, with the lowest hit points, and this one will only target 1 with the lowest. He only rolls 1 die. This rolls more. So like this one's harder to kill, but this one's the threat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this and move 1, 2 to pick this lock. We're going to grab this item here, whatever it is, and try to pick that lock. So here's the item. We get 3 tries, and we need a 3, 2, 3. And just like I said, I don't have anybody that has pick lock skill. The ledger domain is something I would take with somebody, probably the archer person, but I don't have that yet. So let's go for it. So here you can see I rolled a 2 and a 3 on the first roll, and I do have this. I don't know if this helps. I'm gonna put this in. If I look at it like that, so that's what I rolled. So the 2 and a 3 are satisfied. Then I got a 4, so I can take a light, fatigue, and call it a day. And I think I'm going to do that. So a light fatigue for our 2-hander to turn that 4 into a 3, and then we got the item. And so the item is a bow, which is awesome. This allows him to target adjacent enemies. So I may want to give that to our bow user, but for now, I'm at my limit of 4, and when you gain this item, I can't remember. Can I swap it out or whatever? But at this point, I'm just going to make it. It's just an extra item he has, right, in his inventory, and we'll deal with it during our rest phase. So I'll get rid of the dice. I like this. I really do. It's got some really sweet. It's got a really great feel to it, but I'm not sure how much I like picking it up and bringing it in and out. Okay, So we did that. We got a light fatigue on our character. That's no big deal. It only becomes a big deal if we start to have a lot of them. Now I want to murder, death, kill this guy. I have 3 stamina, and you can see that here, and I happen to have 3 dice. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's roll 3 dice against him. I don't remember what they do. This is a class we've never used yet. But let's just roll and see what happens. And I'm, of course, attacking the Breton Marauder. And we have 1, 2, 3. They all look like hits or really good jobs. So let's figure it out. And I happen to have this thing going on. So for his 2-handed skill, we have... So the symbol I rolled is this one, which looks like a slash that says deal 2 damage to your target. This one is a straight down, deal 3 damage to target, then gain 2 light fatigue or 1 over fatigue, right? So you can see I rolled 1 of each. So this is 2 damage to the target. This is 3 and gain 2 light fatigue, which I will do. 2 light fatigue. So he's definitely getting a lot of light fatigue going on there. And then we have this one, which, according to this, is deal 5 damage to your target, and it's a drain, which, so let's talk about that. Drain, of course, means that the die goes away, right? So it's no longer a part of anything. And then this one is 5 damage, and this is 5 more damage, so that's 10 total damage against this guy. That was tremendous. He blocks 1, so that means 9 damage gets applied to him. He has 6 health, so in 1 swig, that guy's obliterated. Okay, I'm liking the 2-hander, although he seems like he's a spurts. Like that used up all of his everything he's got, and now he's got nothing left. But it was still very nice. And then I'm gonna just end my turn there. I could roll a defensive die or something, but I'm not going to. So now we move to the next one. Next one, of course, is the Nord. And the Nord, remember, we can only do 1 damage to this, but he's going to try to do that, but he's going to move his 1, 2, and get this one. And this one is, so he only has 2 stamina. That was all he can move, but that's fine. It was more than enough. And once again, we have 3 tries. We need a 4, 5, 1. And there's a 4, 5, 3. So I'm going to roll again. And I rolled a 2. It's the same situation. I'm going to take a light fatigue. And I'm already realizing I think I would rather take his skills. I'm going to probably make these cards. Those books are actually pretty sweet. I want to bring this closer without damaging anything. I need this to be a lot closer so I can reach it, because I got to be able to put that light fatigue in there. All right, so that's what we got. Okay, so we gain the item, which is another food item. So I'll just give that to him. He now has 4 in his inventory. And he gets to roll 2 dice because he has the only 2 stamina. So he's going to roll these 2. And getting these out of the way, here you can see he's going to hit, and they're going to both count as a shield. So it's 1 damage and 1 shield. And we'll make sure. So when you place this die in the active slot, deal X damage to your target, and when it basically counts as a shield. So we'll put both of these on him as shields. And he also did 2 damage, which, remember, the guy has 1 shield, but even if he did more damage, he only takes 1 damage at a time. So that's the best he can do. And then, since he is a level 1 creature, we're going to take a light fatigue and take another action. And we're going to roll this. And so I rolled a 1. I'm sorry, I rolled a 4. That's even better. So this die gets drained. This is a speech die. And what I did was, I don't know what the best way to indicate it would be. I think this is the best way. He's now a companion for 1 round. So he's on our team now. And, all right, his turn's over. And I'm already liking the idea of doing that. And here's what I'm going to end up doing. Some of these skill dice, I'm going to move down to here because I have room. And then I'm going to pull that towards me. And then these cards I can move wherever, it doesn't matter. And then that'll be very accessible and reachable for me. And I'm going to try to do the same thing here where I have both of those within reach. Because I'm realizing I need to interact with their board more than anything. Okay, next up we have the magic user. Now, the thing is it has 4 magicka, which means the range is 4. So if this is 4, 3, 2, 1, he's got to be standing at one of these 2 spots. And we can easily do that because we have 2 stamina, so he can move 1, 2, or she. And then she's 1, 2, 3, 4 away from being able to zap him. Now, line of sight on this is this corner can easily go to that corner. So that's not a problem. And we're going after the cultist because the mud crab is on our side right now. And what am I going to do when I go after them? Well, I'm going to roll. And I can roll up to 4 dice here. So I have 2 of the arcane staff. And I also have 2 of the illusion. Or whatever it's called. Yeah, illusion. And we're going to roll a 4. Let's go for it. Okay, so this one is a tenacity because it's like a bone. Looks like we got 2 hits here. And then we got this. I got to resolve all these. So first of all, let's look at the illusion one. That is the level 2 die. And so it's the mesmerizing grasp. Place this die on a targetable non-quest enemy. Its range stat and movement is reduced to 1. When this unit is defeated, exhaust this die. So I was able to take this range attack because this guy had a range of 2. And it also always has a movement of 2. And now it only has a range of 1. I mean, that's an awesome... The illusion die is pretty darn cool. I know I wanted to do the healing stuff, but that is cool. This, of course, becomes a tenacity because it's a miss. And I'm going to scoot him closer as well. All right, so we got a miss there, and then we have 2 of these, which this is a new skill. And the new skill in this case is deal 2 damage to your target. And I like that. So that's 4 damage total. Now, the shield on the target is 2. So that means 2 hit points lost on the target. All right, and then we have the archer left. And I'll be right back. Okay, I stepped away a very long time here. It is the archer's turn. And we have 3 stamina with the archer. So I can easily do 1, 2, and I would have to get to here to have a range of 4. But we have the archer class here. Let's see. At the start of your turn, if you're in range form, deal 2 damage to any targetable enemy. So from here at 1, 2, 3, they could have done 1 damage to this. I don't know if they can because I sort of made it on my side. So I'm going to assume no, although he is still technically an enemy. I'll leave it be. We won't do it. And then there's a... I could have sworn there's a way I can increase my range by 1 with the archer. You know what? That was the Iridia game. Man, I'm confusing my games. That one let you increase your range by 1. So I would need to move to here, which is going to effectively block this guy from doing anything. And I think I will, because at 1, 2, 3 range away, I want to be able to hit him. And you can see I have 3 dice I can choose. So I'm going to choose my 2 bow dice. And then I can also choose a shadow die, but I'm going to choose a combat die to go with it for my 3. And here you can see that's 1 hit for 1 damage. This is a hit, and this is a hit. Now remember, this lets you reduce the shield by 1. And how do I know that? Well, it's just part of the skill. So it says deal X damage to your target. Ignore 1 defense on your target for this engage. Now the FAQ, the part that I keep saying that made this class even stronger, is this ignores 1 defense and this ignores another defense. So now you ignore 2 defense. That's the part that blows my mind, is okay, now I'm reducing his defense by 2. But with that said, oh no, he does. He has 2 defense. See that? So we ignore his defense completely and we do 3 damage to him. And 1, 2, 3 puts him down to 1 single health. Like so. All right. So then our turn ends. I could go again. I have 1 more combat die I can roll. I can do some stealth die stuff, but I'm not going to. I'm going to just go ahead and end my turn. And now this companion goes for us. So he's going to move 1, 2, and get next to him and attack. And the companion only rolls 1 single die. So it's probably not going to accomplish anything here. Here we go. So it rolls the 1 die. It does 1 damage, but he has 2 shields, so it doesn't actually damage him. His turn's over. So now it's this guy's turn. Well, this thing here restricts him to, he can only move 1 space, and his range is only 1. So he can't hit anybody but the crab. And remember, the crab is technically ours until the end of the round. So he will attack the crab for 2. He does do a ritual 1. Now, the ritual 1 says, exact wording, at the end of this unit's turn, all allied units in sight heal for 1 damage. This unit is not allied at the moment, so I'm going to assume that that does not apply. Does allied units include himself? I'm going to say no, because he can't be allied with himself. Or if you disagree, please let me know. But this is where the rules lawyering of chip theory games really gets into play. I'm going to assume that ally means other people. And I wish it would just say other allied characters or all characters. Well, here, let me pause and see if the rulebook explains what an ally is. It probably doesn't, but let's try. Ally is definitely not in the index, which makes it near impossible to figure out what that means. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what an ally means at all, because it's not, if it's not in the index, then I'm going through a 94-page rulebook to find it. And it could be anywhere. And that's the problem. So I have to make a decision. What does ally mean? Allied units. At the end of this unit's turn, all allied units in sight heal for a certain amount of damage. I will check Board Game Geek, see if that's anything there. I found nothing. So I got to make a decision. Does allied include himself? I'm going to say yes. So he will heal himself for 1. But right now he is attacking the crab. He rolls 2 dice. And he does 2 damage to the crab. The crab, of course, can only take 1. And then his turn ends. So I'm going to say that he's going to heal himself 1. Now the question is when does the crab stop becoming our companion? I'm going to say that it's after his turn ends. Like completely, like when we go to the next round. So I'm going to go to round 2 here. And now the crab is... So what I'm trying to say is the crab doesn't heal. There's so many weird interpretations to make there. Okay, so then per the viewer feedback, I have to start with this guy again. Like, I can't just pick another one because, like, I don't want to start with this guy because he's blocked. He can't do anything. But with that being said, I think that's okay because he only refreshes 2 dice because of his cooldown, which are these. And he doesn't get his dice back anyways. So we'll do that and... Something's happening I need to check on. Sorry for the interruption. I have a water distiller. It was overflowing. I had to go take care of that real quick. Okay, so he refreshes his 2 dice turnover. I'm okay with that. So we're going around the table this way. And so that means that the one-hand guy goes next. He does have the ability to get into everybody's business. He's here. His stamina is only 2, but if I go here, then I block everybody else. But I'm okay with that because these 2 have range attacks. So he will go 1, 2 and get in his business. And but before he goes, he refreshes his 2 dice. And unfortunately, his 2 dice are up here, but he has combat dice. So he'll take his 2 combat dice and we're going to attack the crab. And we do 2 damage to the crab. The crab has 1 shield. Crab is dead. And we got ourselves our first murder, death, kill. MDK. Sylvester Stallone movie. John Spartan. You have been fined 15 credits for violating the... All right. So I'm going to call his turn done too. So now we go to our mage. And with our mage... we have two dice here. One coming back, the illusion one, and then one of the... Oh, and I could have picked the order. I would have picked this order. You get to pick the order you put them in. I would have picked this order, so I get my 2 damage dice back. And yeah, his range is 4, or her range. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can, move like this to get into better positioning. And yeah, she's going to murder, death, kill. We're going to roll 2 dice. Let's make it happen. Roll these 2 dice. Oh, look at that. 2 more tenacity. Ooh, she's up to 3, though. And while I was on pause, I took a phone call. So while I was on the phone, I went through and did the other characters. So at 3, we can now do an interrupt. When you would discard, we can place a crux somewhere. This one is after you defeat an enemy, you can place a crux token there. So I have all 4 of them now. They look beautiful. It was what? I don't remember. I think I spent 20, 30 bucks for this upgrade. I can't remember. You can look it up. It's all on GameFound. They're quite nicely done. I have similar things like this for War Room, the board game. War Room has some really cool, things, but they're not as cool as this. Chip Theory went out of their way on this one. And yeah, putting all the stuff in, it's quite slick. I do like it. Okay, so I added them all in. I still haven't put the individual items in, but we could do that as well. All right. So because I rolled all tenacity, I did no damage. So last but not least, I have my archer, who I will get 2 dice back. And I get to roll 3, so I'm going to roll my 2 dice plus my last combat die. And then 1, 2. This penetrates the armor. This one gives us a tenacity, which we'll take. And then we penetrate the 2 armor and we do 2 damage. And boom, we win the mission. Now, the problem with winning the mission this quickly is there's a legendary item there that I never bothered to get. I think the rule is I get to finish the round. this is the end of the round, so there's nothing to finish. So that's all the better I can do. So I don't get this item. And I'll put those off to the side. We took no damage. This was a very well executed battle. I think that for a first battle, this was very fair. And we don't get our 2 experience points though. Oh, I put these. We don't get our 2 experience points though until sorry, I made a mistake here. I dropped my level 1s in the level 5 bag, and I dropped my level 10 in the level 1 bag. So I'm having walking and chewing gum issues here. So anyways, we don't get the 2 experience points until we go back to town. That's all I'm trying to say. Now I gotta fix my token issue. I threw the enemies in the wrong bag. Sorry about that. Just more things that interrupt your day. So there we go. The chips have not gotten any less slippery since the last playthrough. As you can see, it's falling down again. They have a coating on them that just makes them, they just glide like you sprayed them with butter or something. Okay, so let's get these out of the way. Bring this back in. This is more or less completed. We just have to get to a town. And we have to do our evening phase. So the evening phase, everybody heals 1, but they also get to remove a die. So from a healing perspective, nobody took any damage. The drain dice come back. So the speech die comes back for him, and this one comes back. So I'm just going to remove the light fatigue for this guy. And then here, I'm going to just remove one of the combat. Oh, and then these also come back, because those don't carry over. And then over here, I'm going to take one of the archer dice. And then here, I'm going to take one of the arcane dice. So only 1 die recovered. And yeah, we're all the way down here. So now we got to get here. It is now day 5. We gained no experience yet. I'm going to draw a blue card to see what happens to the unrest. And we have the up arrow, which I wish they wrote it on the board, like how it moves, because it's specific to this map. So why not write it on the board? But they didn't. So now I got to go into the Gazetteer and look it up each and every time, which is annoying. Okay, so we need, that increases, the eyeball is the only one that decreases it. So this increased it by 1, so now we're at dangerous levels of unrest. And then, so I think Alakare Castle is where I want to go. I do have to verify because unrest levels do cause, it says, at the start of this encounter, the party may freely gain the Dark Forces of Greed side quest. But the good news here is there's nothing specific to unrest. That's why I'm going to that one. The Dark Forces of Greed side quest is the side quest that we currently have. So I don't think we can get it again, because that's what we're going to be completing. So here we are. We're in the town. The levels of unrest don't affect this town, which is why I chose this one. And yes, we will be handing in this quest. And we're going to gain 2 experience points each for the day reward phase. And then each adventure gets an additional town action. So let me give everybody 2 experience points. And everybody is sitting at exactly 2. We're going to get 4 common items. Also, that bow that I picked up, I'm actually going to give this to the archer because that's a really good bow for him. And we got ourselves 4 items. We have rabbit stew, some bracers, a helmet, and another bow. If your target is 3 or more hexes away, set 1 combat skill rolled with this engaged to 2 damage. That's actually really good, but I can only do 1 bow thing at a time. I could equip both of them and just choose which one I'm going to use because I can equip 4 things. But I think I'm going to get this to the Nord for now. If I eventually get more stuff for the Nord, this helps boost the Nord ability to do extra damage. Although that 2 combat die thing is really nice. But I'm going to give it to the Nord, and then if I have to, if the Nord gets a 4th item later, the Nord can help. What am I trying to say? The Nord can give the bow item to the archer. Okay, and then we all get 3 actions here. So let's get our skills trainers up. We have the guild kiosk. Remember, I can discard an item to train any stealth or shadow or whatever you call this, the rogue type skills. Stamina. And then we can also get 2 bonus hit points at the town square, which might be a nice thing to do since we got a big battle coming up. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have the heavy armor, the acrobat, the arcane, and then the ledger domain. And of all these, the ledger domain is the only one I want. I already have the other 3, to be quite honest. So that was a bad pull, but that's how it works. There is sometimes there's like a kiosk thing that lets you change them or whatever. So I do have the option to try to get the glyph of stamina. I don't care about the glyphs. I'm not impressed with them at all. I don't know why the chip theory guys think that they're any good. I read them and I'm like, I don't like this. So we did complete 2 quests in the first session. And if you look at the Argonian, the Nord. The Nord is a knight, and to upgrade to a master, you have to complete 2 side quests with your party in a single session. And a session is Act 1. I call it an act, but they call it a session. So the knight just upgraded to master. So this is where it gets tricky because pulling these out are really hard. I'm going to slide that in. And we do have better, more upgraded things. They tend to signify those with this little rope looking things. But otherwise, most of the skills are the same. But it does say, after your party gains a side quest, heal to full or gain 3 tenacity. After completing a side quest with your party, heal to full and clear your cooldown track. So that's a bit of an upgrade for the knight. So we got one of them upgraded to master. The other one's not quite yet. Okay. So we get 3 actions. The bow and the magicka already have the 2 bonus hit points. So the other 2 guys are going to get 2 bonus hit points. So that's going to be action 2 for the Nord and action 1 for the 2-hander. I don't know where to put the hit points, but I'll do it like so. Okay, so we got plenty of actions here. I want to give this to, I'm thinking the bow person and have them be our lockpicker. So, but where do I put it though? Because that's the thing. I definitely want this full row for the bow. I have this for shadow. I could put it here, sharing with the stamina. But the problem is that I do need at least a 4th stamina, maybe even a 5th one. And that's my dilemma, is where do I put it? I can get rid of this magicka here and put it there, and then it's sharing with the, or I just don't get it. That's where my thoughts are. I feel like I'm crammed too much. Like I could put it here, but I can only at most take 2 dice because once I get this to 4, I might be happy with that. But getting it all the way up to 6 means that I have 6 range on my bow, and I have all this ability to run around the map. I mean, it's really good. Do I need, a crap ton of shadow dice? I don't know if I do. I mean, if I go to level 4 on the shadow dice, I'm going to be here. That means I'm going to be going to level 2 on the ledger domain. And to be honest, the ledger domain, the early levels do help you with lockpicking. The higher levels help you with when you go to a town, you could steal an item or something like that. So you don't necessarily need the higher items. I know for sure I don't need Magicka. So I'm going to take this out. And I will put the ledger domain here, and then we'll determine later if we're going to add dice to it or not. But we at least have the skill instead of the Magicka. All right, and then as far as the rest, we just got to grab the remaining items. We're going to have bonus actions left, and that's going to be fine. So some of this food and these items, I'm just going to put in the backpack, but it's going to not be equipped. So I'll give that to the Magicka person, for example. The Morag tongue bracers. After an adjacent enemy engages you, deal 1 damage to the enemy. The damage ignores 2 defense. I think that's a great one for the two-hander guy. So I'm going to give that to him, and then we're going to take the this and turn it into the backpack. So flip it over. Then we got a helmet here. After an enemy engages you, recover the leftmost die in your cooldown track. Also not horrible. I'll give that to... See, I would give it to the Nord. Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Nord for now. And then the 4th item is this one, the Glyph of Weakening, and we'll put that in his backpack. So we got some decent items. I actually am at a spot where I'm ready to discard some items. So we do our turn action. You could argue that that's not a very exciting one. We gained some more items. I do think that they actually were helpful, some of these items, especially for the next upcoming battle. The big thing, though, is we gained the 2 experience points, and we could have done something else which would have gained us maybe 1 experience point, but this gave us 2. And for this rest phase, before we go into the final battle, we're going to be able to take and spend those experience points. So for the rest phase, I am going to take back at least 1 die for him. And then we got 2 points. So his 2 dice are here. 2 points will get him another two-hander. So looking at his situation, with the two-hander, we have a level 2 die already. So we're looking at a level 3. And there's only 1 die at level 3, but we can get an Executioner 1. Gain 2 light fatigue or 1 over fatigue to immediately defeat an adjacent enemy that has less hit points than you do. That could be really good if you go massive on the hit points, which we could do. This one, deal 2 damage to your target for each fatigue in your cooldown track. Remove up to 1 fatigue from your cooldown track for each adjacent enemy. Place 1 to remove fatigue on each of those enemies. Enemies with fatigue on them cannot target you. Both are really good. I actually like both. That remove the fatigue one is a drain, which causes you to lose the die. The Executioner is a 50-50. There's a chance that you'll miss. And then there's, after that, there's a level 4 die. There's 2 choices at level 4 as well. One's a Balanced Blade, which gives you bonuses if you gain over fatigue. So Balanced Blade gives you bonuses if you gain over fatigue. The Cleave, deal damage to your target equal to your current hit point. I like the idea of I'm going to max out my hit points and do the Executioner and Cleave. I do like that. So that means I'm going to have to start spending experience points on maxing hit points. But for now, though, I'm okay with grabbing an Executioner die which is a level 3. I gotta look at the picture again. Looks like a sword with blood dripping on it. I think that's that one right there, yes. So we're gonna add another die, which does cost both experience points. And then I'm gonna need to get more and more experience points to give myself more health later. I would like to get maybe the level 4 die out as well, which is gonna cost me 3 experience points to do. There's a lot to do, a lot to do. All right, so his turn's over. And then we go here, we get to recover a die. We're gonna recover one of those. And 2 experience points for him. We currently have only 2. I can get another die. I don't know. I don't understand. How did this guy have so many more dice than the other guy? Like, what did this guy spend his experience points on? Well, we got the speech. That's right. That spent one of the experience points. Oh, and then I got a health. That spends another. I did the wrong thing. It's okay. So I just remembered something. When we gain to 2 experience points, this dial goes to 6. So we're up to 6 now. Yeah, I'm gonna get, so with 2 of these dice, this one here costs 2 experience points, and we're gonna get a level 2 die. Now, mind you, when we get the higher level dice, it's gonna reward you for having more of these lower level dice, but we're gonna get the higher level dice nonetheless, because we gotta get there before we start getting the bonus. And the one I really liked was this one. That one was really good. So we're gonna go ahead and grab that one. We have a little bit of experience with this guy, but just to refresh everybody, that one is at level 2. Well, it's the only die at level 2. Why did I think I had a choice? I was looking at the wrong one, that's why. So it can deal 2 damage to your target for each shield discipline die in your active slots. And then exhaust any number of shield discipline die from your active slots and deal 3 damage for each die exhausted this way. So it's yet another one that benefits from you having more of those shield dice. So anyways, he got his extra die, he's done. Then we go over here to the mage. I'm gonna recover this one. And then we can gain some stuff. So I can gain an illusion. I actually do want to get another arcane blast something. So we're going to spend 2 experience points. We're going to get another die for here. Okay, so we're going to do destructive staff, and we have 3 choices. There's a glare. We have 3 choices here. The first one is Pulsar. Deal 2 true damage to your target, then apply a blind status die to it. After it engaged, gain a blind status die yourself. Ooh. What is blind? I got a guess of what blind does, but let me check. All units are opposing units. If the unit engages, it can only target the strongest adjacent unit. All right, Elemental Drain is the other one. This is an S. Apply this die to your target. When the enemy this die is applied to is defeated, apply this die to an enemy adjacent to it. Then deal that new enemy 2 true damage. If there are no adjacent enemies when this skill would trigger, recover this die. So you put it on a target. It does nothing unless that target dies. Then it does 2 true damage to another target next to it. That could be helpful, but man, it's situational. Elemental Rage. Choose a cache in range. Deal a total of X damage distributed as you choose among units within 2 hexes of that cache. So basically, I'm blowing up a treasure chest. And it does X damage. Look at that. That could be 7, 5, 5, 5. That's a lot of damage. to 2 units. I mean, you're losing an item. Whew. And then, of course, there's 2 misses on that one. There is as well on the pulsar. There's only 4 sides on the pulsar. In a way, all 3 of these can be good. The blind to myself, I'm just not a big fan of. I don't have the ability to remove status dice without the cleric skills, which I don't have yet. The elemental drain, it's so, the units have to be near each other, and that's not always a guarantee. I think the only option here is the rage. Yeah, I'm destroying a cache. But see, even that is situational. What a weird level 3 die to take. I think I'm going to do Pulsar. To me, the cache one is by far and away the more damage dealing one. But Pulsar is the only one that I can cast at any time, in any situation, as much as I would like, without worrying about other enemies being adjacent or them being near a cache. Because if the caches are all gone, it doesn't do me any good. And the blind doesn't go away. So you would need to do something that helps you get rid of a blind status. That's where maybe I should have taken the healer class instead of the Arcanist class. The Arcanist class is so far not living up to its hype. I may retcon this and do a healer class. We did do a healer class. I wasn't super impressed, but maybe this will save me from having to take a skill line. So right here, discard an item to heal. Remove an over fatigue. Deal damage. Move 4 light fatigue. Yeah, there's no way to remove a status. There's no removing a status with that one. Yeah, so I'm okay. That was not one that is going to matter. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to add that die to her arsenal. Then here we'll recover 1 die. Now this is tricky. I do want to add another archer die, but I also maybe want to add another stamina. But I think for now, even though I took the ledger domain, I'm going to just add an archer die. We're going to go level 2 for him. And again, I don't know if I need to go level 4 with the shadow or not. It's hard to say. But with the bow, the acid spray was the one that always seemed interesting. Select 3 targetable enemies, roll 2d6 for each. Apply a Bane status die to each enemy whom you roll a total of 7 or higher. So 7 or higher is less than 50% chance. I mean, it is 7 is the most probable roll you're going to get, but it's less than 50% chance. Well, actually, it is 50%. 1 through 6, 7 through 12. So you got a 50% chance that you're going to put a Bane on him, and a Bane does only 1 damage at the beginning of the round. So it is true damage, so it ignores all the armor and stuff. And you do get to hit 3 people this way. I guess I would feel better if I didn't have to roll a 7 or better. Because if I roll less than a 7, I still might miss and they do nothing. And so I went with the volley last time. It deals a total of 4 damage, distributed as you choose, amongst enemies adjacent to you. And then you can move away 2 to 4 hexes. So it's sort of like a way to hit somebody who's adjacent to you and then run away. Now, I chose that last time, but now I have this bow that lets me hit enemies adjacent to me with my regular attacks. So I don't need to be next to somebody to use volley. So I'm going to choose the acid spray, even though it's very random and hit and miss. So that's a different pathway than we did before. So I've never used this one before, but we're going to try it. And there it is. All right, that brings us now to day 6. And if you're looking at where we are on the map, we can go 1, 2, 3. Actually, we got to do the... we completed a side quest. When you complete a side quest, you can do party 5 minus the party, which is 1. So we get to move that down. And then... I drew the wrong card. I draw a blue card. And that brings it right back up 1 again. So I'm starting to wonder, is there any cards that have eyeballs at all? We have not hit a single one. And I'm going through the whole deck. There's 1, 2, there's 2 in the entire deck of, this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 cards. There's only 2 cards that move that down by 1. That's insane. So we're going to have high levels all the time. But yeah, that's how it works, so we'll deal with it. So there we go. We're going to do our mission on this particular day, but that's going to be on the next video. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome.